Hello, everyone. Today we have a special guest, Tim Morland from Canada.
Hi.
He lived and worked in USA, and he's a traveler. In last 6 months, he traveled more than 10 countries, probably.
Yep.
And then he did awesome bicycle trip from London to Istanbul. So he has huge experience. And I also like sport and anything related to health. So I'm pretty impressed that this is the first time I found someone who did bicycling from one country to another country. And I would like to ask Tim to say something about his journey, anything related to travel, especially in Europe and China.
So I get, the bike trip was a lot of fun. It's very easy logistically. You can buy a bike, put some bags on it, and then you're just cycling the same direction every day. I was just camping by the side of the road most days. Kind of have to set up after dark and hide a little bit because a lot of these countries, it's not legal to do that, but no one will bother you. And in fact, people saw me setting up my tent some nights and they'd be like, do you want to sleep in my backyard or my front yard? So people are very friendly as you go, kind of between cities through Europe. And lots of people do this. It's a pretty popular pastime. I went from London to Istanbul, but there's some people who do that and they keep going all the way through China, through all the way across Turkey, all the way across China, all the way to Southeast Asia even.
Wow, excellent. How long did it took from London to Istanbul?
It took me 50 days. But that's with a fair number of days where I didn't cycle at all. I was resting. Maybe if I was cycling every day and I was really fit, it could be done in 40 days at the pace I was cycling.
Wow. Yeah. Excellent. And another thing to tell you guys, Tim is very talented person. He's a engineer, software engineer.
Yeah.
He lived and worked in USA.
Yeah.
Could you say something about those moments?
So, I graduated with a computer engineering degree from Canada, and I got a job in the US in Silicon Valley. So I lived in San Francisco and worked in Palo Alto, which are two cities pretty close to each other. I was working for Tesla, the car company, and I was writing firmware for the cars for 2 years before I decided I wanted to have a career change and move to back to Canada. So I quit that job and then I did my traveling.
Excellent. And then another fascinating thing about Tim, he likes traveling a lot. Same like me, I traveled to 38 countries probably so far. I do not count myself exactly, but I like to travel a lot. A few countries I visited many times. Right now we are sitting in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So I also arrived in Hong Kong a few days ago, and then I went to China, and I am basically impressed by China a lot. I think no country surprised me as much as China because it's all about economics. I did my bachelor in economics, so I always had interest in economy, development. I did my thesis about development. So it's related to economy and development. And I studied my master's in Sweden in business. So in China, I saw a lot of things about those in my own eyes, how a country can develop so fast. And T traveled to China already. And now you will go again from Hong Kong to China.
Yeah. So after I was done my bike trip, I met a friend in China and we went around some of the cities for about a month. China, you read about it in the news all the time, and you read about it because it's a place that's impacting the world. It's changing really rapidly. Visiting it was really amazing because you get to see all that stuff firsthand and develop your own opinions about, as you said, the economy and the way the country's developing. So traveling around China as a tourist, really amazing. It's cheap for one. It's really pretty easy logistically, easy to get around with the high-speed rail and with buses. And it's easy to kind of book things last minute. You don't need to plan everything. You can kind of play it by ear and book a hotel the day of, and it's still a good price the day of.
Exactly.
Which is really nice versus like America or Canada or Europe, where really you want to book your stuff months in advance or else you're going to be paying horrible prices. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, China is super cheap for a tourist. Like I'm from Sweden, where everything, a good hotel might cost $150 plus, and you need to book ahead to get a good deal. Whereas in China, I stayed in hotel in $20 in a 3-star hotel. And if someone stay in hostel, it's even cheaper. And the food is amazing. Like food, I think people can get food, a lunch for $1.50 starting price. So you can get, I think,
Yeah, you can get great food for really cheap. You like sometimes you're traveling in Europe, you're going to be wanting to like cook for yourself, because if you're really on a budget, you know, you're trying to save money everywhere you can. In China, it's not even worth it. You just eat out every time because it's so cheap.
Exactly. This is one of the reasons I think China is a great country. For example, when I was in Shenzhen, one of the biggest city in the world, they have the most of the young people mostly. So I went to different shopping malls, and the food court, hundreds of restaurants. I mean, from outside, you don't see anything. From inside, you see it's a huge, very good restaurant. So all the young people eat mostly outside. They don't cook. So since millions of people eat outside every day, so they have probably the maximum number of restaurants in Shenzhen. And so from my experience, it's very easy to get very good food. Some food which will cost $100 for family, you can get probably in $20 to $30 very excellent meal for the whole family, three or four person. So would you say something more about your travel experience in China, like different cities where you went, some few example?
Yeah. So when I went with my friend a few months ago, we met together in Chengdu, and we hung out there for a few days. And then we took the train to Chongqing, which is kind of famous online. You know, it's a very photogenic city. You have these crazy photos of skyscrapers lit up, and the city is kind of built into a hilly terrain, into a mountain almost. So you'll be like on the first floor of one building, and then you walk like 100 meters, and suddenly you're looking off a cliff, and you're actually on the 50th floor all of a sudden. So that was really cool to see in person. And then we proceeded to the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydroelectric dam in the world. It's been around for a long time now, but yeah, really cool to see in person again. These not just massive cities, but massive pieces of infrastructure that kind of make the country tick. And after that, we went to Shanghai, which has a long, like, storied history of kind of being the interface between China and the Western world. There's this part of Shanghai called the Bund, with all of the buildings that were different companies that were operating and trading with China kind of during the British colonial period, a fair while ago. And now a lot of these buildings like that were British companies have been taken over by the Chinese companies that are now using it instead.
Really fascinating. Yeah, I was also in different cities, and every city is different. I mean, it's so beautiful. Every city has a different thing. I went to small villages, like the beautiful places, as you said. I think I never could imagine China is so beautiful. They have so many interesting things. And I did not feel any pollution even. Did you find any polluted city, like environment pollution?
No, it's an incredibly clean country.
Yeah.
Maybe air quality in some cities leaves something to be desired, but you know, when they're building so much stuff for the rest of the world, that's kind of expected.
Yeah.
But garbage on the streets, not at all. People are really clean and
very
cleaning up all the time.
They clean all the time. Yeah. And then another fascinating thing in China, like they have millions of cars. I did not find almost any old car. All the car are like probably less than 5 years old. They have best cars, probably 70 to 80% cars are made in China, like Chinese brands. I never see in Western countries. And the taxi fare is really cheap, like because most of the taxis are probably hybrid or electric.
Yeah.
So often I ride 10 to 20 minutes and cost is less than few dollar. I mean, in few dollar, how far we could go in Europe, like, it's really cheap. I think most of the time it costs $2 to $3 my rides. So in $3 in Sweden, it's impossible to go somewhere.
Yeah, the taxis are fantastic. Public transit can be faster, but they're almost like close in price when you're
exactly
thinking in terms of like a foreign currency. Yeah. And as you said, a lot of the cars are electric because I think electric cars are allowed to drive every day of the week. But if you have a gas car, you might be limited to only one day. So a lot of people are picking up electric cars in cities for that reason. And of course, all these cars are new because as China has become rich so fast, people are just now getting cars. And so they're skipping gas cars entirely and going straight for electric.
And regarding the economy, what would you say about Chinese economy as compared to Swedish, American and Canadian economy? Can you give some example what you noticed?
China's economy is still pretty small, like per capita. It's around, I think it's on par with like Serbia. So like a relatively poor European nation, but there's a huge number of people there. So that makes the country still very, very important on the global stage for like how many, like the sheer amount of money being produced there.
Yeah.
And it's an economy that's rapidly changing, and perhaps changing most rapidly of anywhere in the world. And so you compare it to a European nation, which maybe hasn't seen major difference, like changes to quality of life over the last 20 years, maybe more stagnant, versus China, where, you go to any city and there's a brand new like metro system that was built in the last 10 years. My city, Toronto, we have our metro system from 100 years ago, and we're just now adding one more line to it for the first time in my entire lifetime. So yeah, comparing that to a modern Chinese metro system with like 20 lines, it's night and day.
For example, when I was in Shenzhen, the metro line, I saw they have 17 plus metro lines.
Yeah.
And all of them are brand new, like done probably in less than 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to visit my friend, and so he said, everywhere you look, millions of people live around. They said all the building you see, 95% are built in last 5 years, that area. So basically, China like invested a lot of money on building public transport and apartments, complexes and stuff. So it's that's why for related to travel, it's very easy to travel because they invested so much in to develop their economy. Now, excellent. So last few question about to travel to China. Like if young people like you want to travel alone in China, what do you recommend? Like, do they really need to plan it ahead, or they can just come with short plan and explore?
It's probably a good idea to know what parts of the country you're visiting, but maybe be willing to change those plans as you meet people and get different recommendations. The only really big piece of planning that I had to do as a Canadian is get a visa, which is, I came to Hong Kong and applied for my visa here instead of doing it in my home country. And it was only 5 days to get it processed. So even though there is a visa process, it's pretty painless, and well worth doing to see like such an amazing country.
And what is the best place you would recommend? A best top 2 places, let's say, or top 3 in China so far?
My personal favorite spot I saw so far was in Shanghai on the Bund. You can go to what was the old headquarters of HSBC, the Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. And it's another bank. It's like a Chinese bank, but they still keep it open. It's an old building, a grand design. You walk in and you can look up at the ceiling and you can see this mural of all the different locations the HSBC had an office. They had one in Paris, in London, in Hong Kong. And so it's really pretty cool to go and see that history. And it's free. It's just an open building. And a lot of people don't know you can go in. So really cool to hop in there and check it out.
Excellent. So two more things. Like you had a fantastic job in the US and you decided to take a career break and travel. Would you say something how this, why this is very important for many of us? We never do this. We never even know the idea of career break. So would you explain like to our audiences, so why career break is helping?
Yeah, it's definitely when you're working, it's not something that's you're maybe considering or is on your mind. You're focused on continuing to develop your career, and taking a break seems kind of crazy. But if you talk to older people, a lot of them will say, I really wish I traveled when I was young. And me personally, taking the break and traveling, I don't regret it at all. It's been amazing. You know, you can travel when you're older, but you can only travel when you're young right now, or like if you leave it, then you're going to miss that experience of traveling as a young person, which is a little bit different. People will treat you differently. And yeah, you can do it now or you can't do it at all. So yeah.
No, excellent. Thank you, Timothy. Would you like to add anything related to travel or your career to our audience?
One of the things that I notice traveling in China, where they maybe don't have as many foreign tourists as other places, is because they're not used to having foreign tourists around. People really see you and they're interested in you and they want to help you and talk to you. Even if they don't necessarily speak your language, they want to help you, even though you can't really communicate at all, which is, it's really amazing, like cultural experience. And you don't get that in major cities in Europe and North America, because people see tourists every day there, and you know they're not really as excited to meet you and see you. So it's really nice to visit places like China and that are maybe not number one tourist choices, because you really get to engage with people in a much more like honest, like real way.
Excellent, excellent. No, thank you, Timothy. So we'll finish this part for now, and we'll have another session very soon. And it's a wonderful conversation with you. I like to meet people, and then I see fantastic people. And thank you very much for saying this for our audiences. I think most of our audiences will be from Bangladesh, but since it is in English, I think globally anyone will understand it. We will share with our friends and our networks. So thanks a lot again.
Yeah, and thank you.